afterthought heel, or a heel that you put in after you finish knitting the sock, is a really nice type of heel to make because first off, it's easy to make. You're just going to pick up stitches on an opening and decrease to make the heel. So there's no complicated shaping or back and forth or changing the number of stitches in the middle of a row. It's just decreasing until you have what you want, and then you close off the heel. The other reason it's a nice heel is that it's very easy to replace it after you're finished with the knitting. If you wear your socks a lot and you find that you get worn spots on the heels, because we're going to start the afterthought heel here and knit it this way, it's very easy to open it up and unravel it and put another heel in later. Now technically we could just knit a whole sock like a tube sock and not put a heel in at all, and then come back and cut the sock open and put a heel in where we want it. But a lot of knitters are nervous about cutting their knitting, and I would be too, especially on a sock where it's small yarn, fine yarn, small needles. You spent a lot of time working it. So I'm going to show you two ways that you can prepare for the afterthought heel before you finish the sock. And you don't actually knit the heel until you're finishing the sock. When everything else is done, you'll come back and knit the heel. But we're going to leave an opening for the heel so that we don't have to cut our knitting later. So the first way that you can create an opening for the afterthought heel is you knit up on the foot up to the point where you want the heel to start. The first way that you can do this is just by setting aside the stitches on the sole of the foot. Now, pretty much every heel that's in a sock is based on using half of the stitches that are in the whole sock. And so in my sample here, I've got 48 stitches, 24 in the sole and 24 on the top of the foot. And so I'm going to take the 24 sole stitches and I'm just going to put them on a string. And we're not going to do anything with them until later. So I'm just going to get my tapestry needle and my string off of there, and we'll leave those for later. And now, to continue with knitting the sock, we'll have to put 24 stitches back on the needle. And you can do that to get 24 stitches. Or you can just use this backward loop cast on, where you just wrap the yarn with your thumb or your fingers and you make a backwards loop. And sometimes this is called a thumb cast on because people do make the loop with their thumb, or an E cast on because the loop looks somewhat like an E. But you're just going to go like that and put 24 loops on the needle. Don't make them too tight or too loose, just make it comfortable. Because what we'll do later is we're going to come back and pick up 24 stitches here, and we'll have two sides of the heel opening. All right, so I've got 24 loops here added to my needle where I put the 24 stitches on hold. And then I'm just going to pick up my knitting and I'm going to go to the top of the foot. And I'm going to continue working in whatever pattern I had established. And I want to make sure that I keep these new stitches aligned so the bottom ridge that I cast on stays on the bottom of the needle near the heel opening. And then once I make the first stitch, it's all locked in place and I don't have to worry about it.